of our Fireside Chats. Today I will be talking, to Jennifer Comfort, who we've had on recently for our, Fiery Embers. And so one of the things we're definitely going to be talking about today is her answer to the question of what are you going to eat as your last meal? And so I'm pretty excited to hear her answer this time around, because last time around, her response was, I'm going to have wheat thins. So I'm excited to get her on the show here to talk about a potentially new answer to that question. In addition to that, we're going to talk about her coaching business and, what athletes should be doing today when it comes to training as we go through the winter months with snow and ice on the ground, and how all of those things come into play with regards to the pardon me, I'm getting over a cold as well. But with regards to training and what you need to focus on to make sure that you are going to be going well with your training during these hard moments. So it looks like that we are going to be able to go live here on Instagram in a minute, in which case I will bring Jennifer on so that we'll be live with everybody all at the same time. So without further ado, everybody, please welcome Jennifer Comfort. Hey, Jennifer, how are you?
Hi, everybody. I'm great. Thanks.
Awesome. One of the things that we've been talking about, and I mentioned this earlier, is we've put in a new system that we're working with called Restream. So you and I are on a piece of software that others are also viewing through Facebook, Instagram, wherever. But one of the things that we've been talking about trying to do is add like a round of applause when we bring the introduction, like when the person shows up, they get like this massive round of applause.
I love it.
So for those of you that are joining us on whatever platform you're on, please feel free to ask questions of Jennifer. Just type them in the comment box. They'll show up on our screens and we'll be able to relay those questions to Jennifer. We talk about training because we're going to dive in a little bit about coaching, especially during the winter months. But before we get started, I have two questions for you. Normally we only have one, but typically to break the ice, our first question is pineapple on pizza, yay or nay?
Oh, yes. I knew you wouldn't like that. No, absolutely.
No self-respecting New Yorker would agree with that.
I'm a West Coaster, I guess.
How do you eat it, though, if it has pineapple on it? You can't fold it in half. You use a knife and fork?
Well, they're usually bite-sized pieces of pineapple, so I don't know. I just eat it. I love pineapple. It's delicious.
Well, then just eat it out of a tin and have pizza the way it's supposed to be eaten.
That could be an option, too, but I love it. And I just think it's so good. It's like kind of that sweetness with everything. What's your favorite topping?
Plain. That's it.
Oh,
nothing. Just plain pizza.
Just like cheese and
sauce. That's it.
Okay. Oh, pizza margarita. What about basil? Pizza margarita?
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, I'm not gonna kick it out of bed, but it's not something that I'm gonna be like, oh, make sure you have that.
Oh, I would slam some pineapple just on some cheese too. That would be so good. Yeah, it doesn't even need the ham or anything else.
I will say this, there's a local pizza joint around here called Bambino's, and they have a great white pizza that comes with mushrooms and olives. And I add Calabrian chilies on there for extra spice. And it is so good. Like one of the best. Yum,
that sounds delicious.
By the way, a friend that I made, thanks to you, Kevin Riley, has joined us, and I see a whole bunch of other names popping up here, which is pretty neat. So the other question, we've had some time now to think about this, and you and I have laughed enough about it, but you're getting put in a rocket ship, you're getting flown to Mars, and you're going to only eat sweet potatoes for the rest of your life with Matt Damon. What's your last meal before you enter that rocket ship?
Okay, well, I know what I said wheat thins last time, and I want to mix it up a little bit, and I really would like unlimited. I guess I could just go with Costco, but if I could get an unlimited supply of animal crackers from Costco, I'd be good.
I was expecting
those little animal crackers. I know. I've had 4 months to think about it. That's what I got.
I mean, and you said one of your kids gave you a help, right? Said you should at least have salad or something.
Yeah, yeah. My kid said, "Wait, no salad?" Like, no, just give me some carbs.
And so we go from wheat
I
thins
want
to
Costco
animal
animal
crackers.
crackers. Yeah,
Do they
totally.
have? Are they the ones that have icing on them?
No, I don't need icing. I just need the plain ones. Yeah,
Oh, so you just
yeah.
want to eat cardboard.
Yes, absolutely. Yep. I would be so happy.
Do they even come in the little red box like the old animal crackers used to, like when we were kids? Remember that?
I would bring those kind. I like the Costco ones right now, but I actually bought some of those, like that red box, like, I don't know, in the past 3 months or so, like a little kid, and I was happy.
So the best part about this is we're dispelling all of the rumors and excuse not rumors, but myths
Yeah,
of triathletes and
yeah.
how nitpicky they are with their diet and right, and like constantly measuring things. And it's like, no,
Hmm.
man, eat the animal crackers and the wheat thins. Like you got to
Yeah,
get fuel.
yeah, yeah. I was just thinking, why don't I have any right now to bring on my trail runs? This is so stupid. I need to get some. Yeah.
So speaking of trail runs, when we were in the green room prior to going live, you and I started talking about an adventure you've got coming up in exactly 2 months. You're going to be racing in
Yeah.
Italy. Tell us about that.
Yes, I am. And I was actually thinking last night if I could bring those animal crackers through airplane security. Do you think I could?
Oh, no, what I would do is I would buy like even better animal crackers in Italy because I'm sure they taste even better over there.
Italian animal crackers. I, I think that's what I'll do. Yeah, I'll go local. Yes, I'm going to be racing 2 months from today, March 23rd, in Cinque Terre, Italy, um, at Schiacci Trail, and it's a 50K. Technically, it's a 47K. Um, I just say 50 because it's easier. It has 8,600 feet of elevation, so there's quite a bit of vertical. Um, and it goes through all 5 villages on the Mediterranean and then loops around through the vineyards. And I'm really looking forward to it.
Oh, that's super exciting. What's the name of
Yeah.
the event?
I mispronounced it. I think it's technically called. I can spell it better than I can say it. It's called uh, Shiake Trail. Shiake.
All right,
Shiake. Shiake.
I'll look it up after we're done with this.
SCIACCHE Trail. Yeah. I speak Spanish a lot better than Italian.
So talk to
Um,
me about like you're in an area that gets weather, ice, snow, and you got a race coming up in a couple of months. Talk to me about like your training through this process because there are going to be plenty of people that watch this video that have early season races. They March, April. I think Ironman Texas is in April, and so they're
mhm.
training through these winter months. How are you getting through these couple of months here with the weather being what it is?
Yeah, super good question. I am being very flexible, to be honest. Even on, if anybody saw my stories on Saturday, I literally got in my car, was driving out to a mountain. Um, the road was a sheet of ice. I called it and I turned around. I was going 20 miles an hour. It was going to take me an hour to get somewhere that usually took 20 minutes. So I said, F this, turned around, got my spikes on my shoes, went out to run, still too icy, came back, put snowshoes on. So that was just one day of training. So for other people, and then today, like I was telling you in the green room, I just did a treadmill workout and it's totally fine. So I think adaptability this time of year, I'm all for weather. I love it. Put on the right layers, dress appropriately. You'll probably be fine. And if you're not fine, then be safe and turn around and go home. And then other days, I think the treadmill is a wonderful tool. I am so thankful, to have one or to have access to one. I would say most athletes probably have access to one at a gym. I don't think they're awful personally. Music, movies, podcasts. I think they can be great. Watch sports. I watch Premier League while I'm running. Anyway.
I'm a huge fan of watching TV while I'm running on the treadmill. So I just posted this on Threads yesterday, but I recommend it for anybody who's got a couple hour run on on their schedule that they watch
Mhm.
the movie Lift on Netflix. It's a Kevin Hart movie. It's like
Oh,
a combination of Ocean's 11 and The Italian Job. with a
Uh-huh.
splash of Fast and the Furious. So you don't
Yeah.
have to really pay attention. You understand what's happening, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
you can enjoy it. So if you got, it's about 2 hours. So back to back days, if you have an hour run both
Yeah.
days, like it's perfect for that. Like I
Yeah.
love the treadmill and the
I,
bike trainer too, but I love them for this exact reason because I
mm-hmm.
know you get caught up in trying to do so much during your day to day and everything else. And so if I can watch a TV show and run all at the same time, I'm in. Sign me up every day.
Absolutely. And even if you don't have a lot of time, I mean, setting the elevation, the vertical on a treadmill to a certain amount, I mean, you can get a super good hard workout really, really quick. If anybody wants one, I'll be happy to message you one.
I'll give you mine. I'll give you mine if you give me yours. So here's
Okay,
mine.
let's trade.
Here's mine. So a
Yeah.
1 mile warm up, and
Uh-huh.
in the back half of the first mile, add in 4 to 5 pickups, 30-second pickups with a minute recovery. And
Mm-hmm.
then I'm doing this specifically for Lake Sonoma. So the first
Yeah.
mile after the warm up is at 7%. And I set it at, for me, at a pace of around 15 minutes per mile at first to hike. And then I
Mm-hmm.
increase the speed until I'm running, until my heart rate gets into zone 4. And then I bring
Yeah.
the speed right back down until I'm hiking to bring my heart rate back down. So, and I do that for a 7% grade, then an 11% grade, and then a 5% grade, because those are the 3 inclines on Lake Sonoma that are the steepest. And then the
Yeah.
last mile is just, a super easy cool down zone 1, zone 2 run.
Yeah.
That's one of my go-to workouts right now. And then the other one is same warm up, and then at 5% the whole way through. So for a half mile at 5%, run as much as I can, at a pace that's controllable, RPE 6-7. But
Mm-hmm.
then the
Mm-hmm.
second half of that mile, RPE 8-9 at 0% grade. So as fast as I
Oh
can.
yeah. Yeah. I love it. Those are great. And I love the specificity that you can do just right there. That's
Yeah.
that's awesome. Yeah.
All right. So what's yours?
Oh gosh, I have so many. I don't have a good one right off the top of my head because I have all kinds of crazy intervals. Not crazy, but just like different things that I give athletes depending on the time and day. But I do like finishing on even a 1 or 2 or 3%. Or even sometimes when you go down to 4% after you've been at 9, 10, 11, 12, a
Yep.
4%, as you know, feels flat
Yeah.
practically. Um, so I don't know. I don't have a specific go-to. I did realize I was accidentally running at 0% the other day when I always run 1% or more. I just think it's just good practice, and the power I realized is 25 watts more just adding 1% grade. So
Oh, wow.
just
That's a significant.
it's a huge difference. So I think right there is very telling, that margin of just adding 1%, how much more power it's causing me to generate and build. Yeah.
For those of you that are watching us via whatever platform you're on, if you have questions for Jennifer and coaching tips and tricks while we get through these winter months, please type them in. I'll be sure to get them over to her. So that was going to be my next question for you. Do you have any tips or tricks that you use to get through those treadmill miles, those trainer miles, when we're, essentially confined to being indoors because of the weather?
Mhm. Um, I think kind of what we were talking about, having some variability, like playing around with the paces, playing around with incline. It doesn't, I mean, in some days it is just a zone 2. And I mean, I say just in quotes, that is totally fine too. But I think a zone 2 is really, for me, a heart rate based. I ask my athletes to go heart rate based because I don't know about you, but I mean, what goes on here versus the treadmill is, oh my gosh, it's just a freaking crapshoot.
Yeah, like
It never aligns.
no, and I just always use whatever distance the treadmill says I ran, and
Yeah.
whenever I update my Garmin files, it's just whatever the treadmill says is what it is.
Yep.
I don't worry about being like perfect or whatever.
Totally. Which I think is good for athletes to do, myself included. Sometimes it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to, the pace might be off, the heart rate might not be perfect, but you're in somewhere in your zone 2 on a zone 2 run. Or if you could like sing a Taylor Swift song out loud like I do, then you're probably, where you should be. I would say the other thing that I like to do, are treadmill boot camps. And sometimes I'll make up my own, or sometimes I'll just flat out do a Peloton one, not sponsored, but that's, you know.
You never know. Now that we're on this massive platform, you never know. They might come calling.
So to do it, you never know. Like a 5, 7 minutes on the tread, hop off, do some weights, and some, strength for 5, 7, 10 minutes, hop back on the tread, set the incline to 12%, walk for 5 minutes, get off. 45 minutes is about all I can handle if I'm doing it, at high effort. And I think that's a great workout for athletes that want to mix it up.
So what's the longest you've run on the treadmill then?
Ooh, I did it a few weeks ago. I think I did 3 or 3.5 hours. Yeah. How about you?
I've gone as long as 4 hours plus.
Yeah.
But I've always had this like thought process, like it'd be cool to run 100 miles on the treadmill. Like I know I can run 100 miles. I've done it numerous times.
Mm-hmm.
But I think about the mental component of
Mm-hmm.
running on a treadmill for 100 miles and how that would change the scenario in which I'm operating, right?
Yes. Yeah. Well, when you do it, can you broadcast it, and
Yeah,
we'll
we'll put
support?
it.
You'll have lots of supporters. I'll be one of them.
We have a comment. Mergen Multisport just said that's brutal. And I believe they're referring to the 3.5 to 4 hours on the treadmill. I'm sure
Yeah,
brutal will also come into play for 100 miles on a treadmill.
totally. Or outside, that's brutal too. So either way, it's good training.
So you mentioned earlier, like the idea of not being perfect, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so it brought up a question in my mind almost immediately, like, why do we care about this sort of idea of perfection, right? Like you
Mm-hmm.
hear the stories of the athlete whose schedule said run 5 miles and they do their thing and they get back to their starting point and it's like 4.98 and they're running laps around the parking lot to get to 5. Like, why do we care about hitting that exact specific number?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think, because I used to be one of those people, and now I will stop at 4.98 and not care. And I am so fine. But there will be other days. I'm kind of both now. There'll be other days where I'll go run past my house and get the 5 miles and won't stop. So I've experienced it from both ways. And I would say most athletes want to get the perfect number. I'm not sure if it's a matter of, I think it's a lot of stuff. Is it we're judging ourselves? Do we think other people are going to be judging us, like a coach or Strava world? Or are we judging ourselves? And if we don't do it perfectly, then we're not doing it properly.
Probably the latter half. So we have a comment on Instagram from Michelle Fro who said, "Yep,
Mm-hmm.
must be my goal, type A personality."
Oh,
But I wonder, right? So here's what
yeah,
I wonder: like at the end of the year, if
yeah,
our goal was to run 1,000 miles and we ran 999.9, or we were at 999.8, would we say
uh-huh.
to ourselves, "It was that day in early February that I didn't hit my 5 mile mark"? No, we would just go out and do the 0.2, right? Like you wouldn't be even
Right,
thinking about it.
yeah,
So
yeah. Or
I
what?
don't. Go ahead.
No, I don't know.
So I don't
Yeah,
get, because I used to be that way too. Like it was like, okay, I
uh-huh.
got it. And here's one of the things that changed in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Do you recall balancing a checkbook?
Yes.
Right. So you'd get the
Mm-hmm.
statement from the bank in the mail, you'd look at your checkbook and you would balance your checkbook.
Yeah.
I don't know if you do that today anymore. I don't. But I do remember that when I used to put gas in my car, I would always make sure I got the $25, 00 cents, right? Because it made
Mm-hmm.
balancing a checkbook later on easier.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, because I don't balance a checkbook or anything, if I fill up the tank and it's at like $25.17, I'm like, whatever, right? Like I just don't care anymore. And
Yeah.
so I think my not caring about hitting the specific number actually
Mm-hmm.
started then when I was like, who gives a shit?
Right. But now and I think it has to do with our data trackers too, because before I don't know about you, but when I lived in Seattle many decades ago, I used to drive around in my car and hit the odometer to make up loops or routes so I knew how long I was running.
It's insanity.
I know, right? But was it exact? No, because
Who
I mean,
knows?
probably not. But was I still training and getting my running done? Yeah, sure. Yeah,
Especially if your car had like the old odometer that the thing would
yeah.
flip over and not a digital readout. Like you
Oh,
didn't know.
it was. It was an old one. It had like the yeah. It wasn't digital. So I think it has part of the blame is to with all of our data collection, which is good and bad. Well, it's just what it is. I don't know. I don't think good and bad are the right words. It is what it is.
I mean,
Yeah,
it can hurt you though,
it
right? Because
can. Yeah, yeah.
there will be moments where you're like, "Oh, I should go do more because my watch tells me that I'm rested, even though you feel like
Oh
hot
gosh.
garbage."
Oh, I can't even. Or my watch tells me to rest every day, and I'm not going to rest because I'm going to get after it.
It just it amazes me how like this stuff works. Like I read an article months ago that Whoop, the CEO of Whoop, basically indicated that the data that you're getting from your Whoop band is an
Hmm.
aggregate of people. So it's not specific to you. It's an aggregate of data. So think about that, right? Like everybody's
Yeah.
just contributing a piece of data to this
Hmm.
formula, and they're
Hmm.
like, "Oh, well, based on all of these other people, you must be tired today." And it's
Right.
like, "No, but I feel great." So you really have to figure out what the data is telling you and what you can and should not pay attention to because it can be overwhelming.
Absolutely. Totally. Yeah.
So you're a coach. What
Hmm.
happens when you have a an athlete who's not performing to their typical level,
Hmm.
but they keep telling you they're great, and you're like, "No, you need a rest day. No, you need a rest day." And they're like, "No, I feel great." And you're like, "No, but look at the data." Like, how do you address that as a coach?
Mm. I I have run into this actually. It's not even a hypothetical situation. Um, for athletes like that, will flat out have a conversation about why they don't want to take a rest day or why they think they don't want to take a rest day because maybe they do have a valid reason that I'm just not seeing. I will also, I'm okay with active rest days if for that athlete they want to do yoga on their on a rest day or do go on a walk with their dogs or with a partner or so instead of it just being the fear of just sitting on the couch and doing nothing. If they need to be doing something, I have no problem giving them an active recovery that's in like a zone zero. um, at the same time, I do understand that endurance sports, it's no secret that it can become an addiction. It become um, something that we feel like we need and have to do, and I think that shouldn't be skirted around also. um, so I don't know if that answers your question very well.
Well, it does, and because I'm thinking about what does an active recovery day look like
Yeah.
versus a full-on rest day, right?
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
for some athletes, an active recovery day might end up being a 5-mile walk, and it's like that's not active recovery. That's an exertion. Like you're out there for 2 hours
Right.
walking around, right? Like,
Right.
and for some, if you're like me and you're competitive, and you're in a yoga class, and you
Hmm.
look
Hmm.
over and you see Ben
Yeah.
is getting further and deeper into his stretch than you are, and you're like, "Well, I could do that," right? Now all of
Hmm.
a sudden it's a
Hmm.
competition again, and you're
Yeah.
elevating your heart rate and doing more than you should. So it's
Yeah.
not easy. It's not easy to.
No, it's not. It's not. Another idea that I do with some athletes, if they feel like they need a recovery day or a rest day, meal prep is always something that I think is massively important. And who has time? I mean, I think it's from a time perspective difficult for a lot of us to do. But I think all or most athletes will understand that that is part of having a healthy lifestyle. So yeah, they're not exercising, but I think meal prep is a good way to spend a rest day, and you're doing something hopefully that makes that athlete feel productive.
Yeah, but how long is it gonna take me to go to Costco to get wheat thins and animal crackers?
You
If I got
might have to throw some veggies in there too.
a little stalk of broccoli every now and again never killed you.
Yeah.
So do you have outside of the trail race in Italy coming up in a couple of months, what does
Mhm.
the rest of your race schedule look like if you have one planned out already?
Yeah, I actually do have a couple for the first time in many years, instead of just jumping in 5 days before, like I usually do. I'm really good at last second, just going for it and seeing what happens. But I'm going to be doing a 6 hour all female trail running event in Walla Walla, Washington. I've never done this one. It sold out really fast, actually. And I have some other athletes that are going to be doing that as well. So I'm so excited. It's 2 or 3 weeks after Italy. Um,
Is it one of those looped events? You're on a 1 mile loop?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know the distance, but something like that. Yeah, loop, just run around for 6 hours. Sounds kind of fun to me. And I get to eat as many animal crackers and wheat thins as I want to that day.
I tell
So,
you what,
so if anybody's at the Walla Walla Trail Run and wants some
we'll
animal
tag
crackers
them.
and wheat thins, I will totally share.
We'll tag them in the post and see if they can make sure that there's animal crackers at the aid station.
Yeah.
I will tell you this: the thing about the looped events that
Uh-huh.
I didn't really know until I actually participated in them and have paced at them.
Mhm.
It is such a welcoming environment, and it is such an inclusive environment.
Mhm.
At Lori did her first 100-mile race there,
Okay.
and I think they have like 6-day event, like it's up like a 6-day event as well. Like they have a whole bunch of different time frames.
Mhm.
Um, and there was a lady there who had a walker, like a literal walker, because she messed up her ankle or her foot,
Yeah.
and so she was pushing this thing on this 2 mile loop for 72 hours to get to her 100-mile race. Like if she was thrown into the woods and like she wouldn't have been able to do it, right?
Mhm.
There was
Mhm.
another guy who finished 82 miles. I don't remember the number of days. His goal was 100. He didn't get there, but the
Mhm.
dude was so happy. Like he was like, I can't believe I got to 82 miles. Like it's just so cool because it's such a confined space too. You're seeing the same people. And
Yes.
so you start out as strangers, but by the time it's done, you've shared so many laps and miles and moments and time together. It's like a family by the time it's done. So it'll be cool
Mhm. Mhm.
to hear what your experience is like at the 6 hour event.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I've done a couple Soul Survivor races here with the 4 mile loop the past 2 years. And I feel that it's the same way. It's just really communal and it's a lot more chit chatty at the start of the day. And as the day goes on, it kind of goes downhill because everybody starts suffering when you get into double digit hours out there. But anyway, but it's so fun. And yeah, just a much different environment. And it is because it's more centralized. You always come back to the same place. Um, I love the communal aspect of it. So I'm really looking forward to that one. Um, and then I'm also going to be doing a relay, 36-hour relay in Oregon in June. And that's with Mammoth Endurance. Um, and it's as many swim, bikes, and runs as you can do. I have two teammates. Luke Sweet, one of my athletes, is going to be doing it, and another Jen is going to be the other teammate. So it'll be three of us, and we'll just be swimming and biking and running for 36 hours. Only one of us at a time, as many times as we can to get as many triathlons as possible.
So one person can swim, one person bikes, and one person runs, and
Only
that's
one person at a time. So if one person is swimming, then the other two are resting.
okay. So if I'm the run leg of the
Mhm.
first triathlon, after I
Mhm.
finish the run leg, I can now be the swim leg,
Totally, if you want to.
and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
we'll fiddle around.
Yeah, it starts at 10 p.m. And the first one has to be a bike and it's a 10. And it's another one of those events where everything's in a centralized location for the transition. So it's a 10-mile bike loop around Hag Lake in Oregon, outside of Portland. I forget the elevation, but it's not flat at all. 10-mile bike loop, and then the teams get to decide what they want to do after that.
Oh, so you don't? It's not a true triathlon process. Swim, bike, run.
Nope, you can do any order. It's different. Yeah, I've never done one like this before. I've never even attended one, so it's all new.
How'd
Yeah,
you hear about this? This just sounds
yeah,
fascinating.
I know. It's through Mammoth Endurance. If anybody wants to look it up, I've been going to their events as a coach for the past couple years, and I just can't say enough words about how good of people. They're just wonderful people that put on these events, and they're smaller, they're communal, they're accepting. It's just, and you kind of like what you were talking about, Jason, you leave the trail races, you leave with new friends. And we're together for 36 hours with all these other people doing the same thing. Although some people, you can do solos, you can do 12 hours, 24 hours, or 36. So
That's really, really cool. Like I could
it
see
is.
how that would be such a blast, not only to get to know your teammates better,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
But then to get to know the people that are competing. Do you know how many people are competing in the event?
I don't. I meant to look that up. And one of my other friends is going to do just the swim. So there's lots of formats. She's just
Okay.
going to swim for 12 hours and see how long she can go. Yeah, Stacy, if you're watching, or if she's awesome. She
What did
is
I
so, yeah.
what was it? I think it was Meg. Uh Mergen Multisport said brutal for 3.5 hours on a treadmill. 12
Yeah,
hours of swimming?
yeah, that's legit. It's nuts.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited to see what Stacy can do. Like, that's out there. And then I'm going to also be one more thing. I am scheduled for or signed up for the 70.3 Washington in Tri-Cities, and that's where I'm based out of. So it's the inaugural 70.3 Ironman branded race. It's moving from Maple Valley over to here, and we have a 3-year contract for that. So that's pretty exciting to be able to share our backyard that I've been playing around on for the past, well, I'm born and raised here, but for triathlon the past 18 years hanging out.
And correct me if
And,
I'm wrong, you had a hand in the race of some kind. Is that correct?
I did some stuff in the background, a
Yeah.
little bit, not much, but yeah. But yeah, honestly, we talked with Iron Man way before COVID, like 6 years or at least 6 years ago. We were putting courses together. So
Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, it just shows you how long it takes to get these things
Oh,
ironed
and
out.
and the permits, and it's a process. Yeah, but it's really exciting. Yeah, I think it's 90% sold out right now. So yeah.
So similar to flying to Mars and only eating sweet potatoes, if you had to race a particular format for the rest of your life and only one format for the rest of your life, meaning point to point, large loop, small loop, triathlon, the typical way, or whatever way you want, like what would be a race format that you would be like, yeah, I could do this for the rest of my life?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I would. Okay, I'm just gonna go with my instinct. I don't know how far it would be, but I would do. Oh, I don't know though. I would do trail running. I'm a trail runner at heart, at least right now. That could change. I would trail run. I don't know if I would want it point to point, like just run for literally to Mars, or if I would do a loop. If other people would do it with me, I would do a loop.
I'm a point to point
Are
runner.
you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I've done the loop thing. I've done the loop thing in a different way, a couple of different ways.
Hmm.
I've done for a 100 mile, I've done 4 25-mile loops. I've done 5 20-mile loops,
Okay.
which are cool because 20 miles is going to take 4 hours ish. And so by
Yeah.
the time you've come back around, you've forgotten what the first half of the loop looks like in a sense.
Hmm.
I did a 100-mile race, my first one that was a clover leaf. So
Yeah.
everything started and ended at Horse Barn in the middle. And so you did
Yeah.
like a 7-mile loop, an 8-mile loop, a 7-mile loop, and whatever the difference is
Yeah.
to get to 25 miles. And you did that 4 times. But I've raced at Western States and Black Canyon and Gimme Point to Point. And it's all
Mm.
because like the way my mentality works is like if I have to run past the same thing 100 times, I'm gonna be like again. But
Hmm.
on a point to point race, I run past the tree. I'll be like, bye, Mr. Tree. I'll never see you again. Like I feel like I'm
Hmm.
progressing towards something in that
Yeah.
way. So I
Yeah.
prefer point to point races.
Yeah. And then would you want flat or vertical?
Oh, it's got to have elevation to it.
Yeah. Okay.
Got to have
Same.
elevation
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah.
There's so much enjoyment. Although I didn't have much of it this past weekend, like I was dying going up this climb. I was like, when is this ever going to end? This sucks.
Yeah.
But there is like that enjoyment of accomplishment when you get to the top of a climb and you're
Hmm.
able to look at what you've done. So it's got to have some elevation to it.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I agree. What do you have planned this year? For
So
races.
in March, I'll be in LA
Okay.
doing a 22K race out there as
Mhm.
build up to Lake Sonoma. My A race for the first half of the year is I'll be racing Lake Sonoma 50 miler in April. And then in
Okay.
May out here in the Seattle area, I'm doing the Tiger Claw. I think it's 50K. I really don't remember the distance, but I'll be doing that in May. I figure I'd have some of the fitness left over from Lake Sonoma, so I was like, oh, it's like 3 weeks after Lake Sonoma, a couple of a week or so of recovery and just some easy runs, and I should still have my fitness to go after
Yeah.
that day kind of thing. So that's the first half of the year, and then the second half, I
Uh-huh.
don't have anything planned yet. I
Mhm.
think the focus this year is going to be on shorter distances,
Mm.
50K and shorter distances.
Yeah.
Marathon and half marathon runners are like shorter distance, 50K.
Right,
You know,
right.
like a 50K or a 50 miler
Mhm.
in the second half of the year. Um,
Okay.
business has gotten so busy.
Mhm.
Ohm even said it today, this morning in our chat. He's like, dude, I've actually had to build into my calendar running time, like so that
Mhm.
people can't book appointments with me. Where in like 6 months ago, he's like, I would just go whenever I was ready to go, and now
Right.
it's gotten so busy, we just can't do that. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, congrats to you guys for that. That's exciting though.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
A large part of it is because athletes like yourself, coaches like yourself are willing to share their stories with us
Mhm.
and with the hopes of helping somebody else, and so without you guys trusting us to share your stories, it doesn't happen, and
Yeah.
so it's really cool. As a matter of fact, I interviewed a guy from Hungary. He was in Hungary, right, today.
Yeah.
And yesterday I interviewed a guy in the UK. Last week I interviewed a guy in Finland. We talked
Cool.
to another woman in the UK and another lady in Canada. And so
Mhm.
it's kind of crazy that all of a sudden, right, we just believe we're like this little corner of the universe, and now we're having international conversations. It's bananas.
I love it. I love it. Yeah.
Well, hey, tell us where people who want to be coached by you or follow your journey. And I'm not going to try to pronounce the Italian ultra, but at the Italian
Mhm.
ultra in a couple of months, where can
Mhm.
they find you? How can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so mostly Instagram. I do some Facebook too, actually. So you can message me on Facebook, everything, or Instagram, Jennifer Comfort Coaching. I have a link tree in my profile at Jennifer Comfort Coaching in Instagram. So there's a contact form in there, or you can just message me too. Um, and that's really the best way to get a hold of me. Yeah.
Awesome. And um, is there anything in particular in terms of coaching that you're looking to help people with? Is it beginners who are just getting started, people who are in the trails, or triathletes who are looking for their first 70.3 Ironman distance? Anything specific?
Yeah, that seems to be popping up more right now, just with the 70.3 in my hometown. I've got some new athletes, which I'm super excited. I love coaching new athletes. It's so fun. And then I have, other athletes that are world qualifiers as well. I know that your coaches are supposed to be niche and blah blah blah. But right now I'm fine coaching all the above. I'll get you. I won't promise anything, but I will try to get you to a Boston qualification marathon time if that's what you want. I just did that last month with an athlete. If you want to get to Kona, we can work towards that. I've gotten athletes there. If you want to do your first 70.3, if you want to do your first half marathon, I just had a discussion with a lady today that wants to train for her first half marathon, and the fueling and hydration is confusing. There's lots of opinions and products. Lots is an understatement. We all know that. Oh my gosh, which isn't a bad thing. But how do you sift through that if you're just starting out and doing your first half marathon or your first marathon? I mean, we all know that you can be trained to the T, and the second that goes awry, you're toast. So I'm really actually accepting athletes from pretty much anywhere right now. Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah,
For
yeah.
those of you who are watching, if you want to learn more about Jennifer, we do have a story on our website at runtrimag.com go and take a look at it, give it a read, and then get in touch with her so that she can help you achieve your goals. Are you ready for we call it rapid fire,
Oh
but
gosh.
we want to hear your answers. So don't worry about like feeling stressed to respond. You ready?
Here we go.
By the way, we had Rach McBride on a couple of weeks ago,
Oh, cool.
and they said that this segment, they were asked about this segment because they had been on the show previously.
Mhm.
And one of the things we talked about was like starting a podcast about just food for endurance athletes, because this always goes off on tangents everywhere. So,
Totally.
Oreos. Are you an old school Oreo fan or are you a double stuff Oreo fan?
Old school.
Yes. Licorice, red, black, or hell no?
Oh my God, not black. No black. Oh, I'm having a physical reaction to that.
You're okay with red though.
Red's good.
So do you have a preference, Twizzlers or Red Vines?
Red vines, absolutely.
And do you use,
Yes.
so do Red Vines have the ability to use them as a straw, or do they just
Yep.
peel, right?
Um, okay, actually, I like red rope the best, where it's the rope kind, you
Yeah.
know? I don't know what that is.
So I think those just peel, right? Because you end up with like a skinny string.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I don't think those can be used as a straw. I think
No,
Twizzlers.
no straw. Yeah. Mhm.
Peeps, are they a real candy or are they just dust covered in glitter?
No, thank you. I don't.
Candy corn. Is candy corn a real candy or is it just earwax covered in sugar?
Oh my gosh, it's the best. I love candy corn.
No!
I actually have a candy corn problem. Oh gosh, it's an issue.
Eating
My
it.
kids are like,
Eating it is a problem.
Mom, you just bought that yesterday. Where is it? I don't know. Gone in my belly. I have a candy corn problem.
So you're the person keeping that company in business. I've been wondering.
And then I overeat, and then my stomach hurts because it's so much sugar, and I still can't stop. And I kind of don't care.
That stuff is awful.
I love it. I love
Peanut butter or nut butter if you have allergies, creamy or crunchy?
Ooh, either. Love them all.
No, you got to pick one. This segment is all about making decisions.
Okay, creamy.
Is a hot dog a sandwich or a taco?
It's not food.
I will pick a.
I'm judging so hard.
Yeah, because I love hot dogs. I've been eating them for
Ew.
50 years. Give them to me all day, every day, and twice on Tuesday. Like, I love hot dogs.
Okay, I got distracted. What's actually a question? Because when you said hot dog, my brain turned off. Like, I literally turned off.
I asked if it was a sandwich or a taco.
Oh, it's a sandwich.
Because of
what
the
do
bread?
You think? Yeah, because of the bread. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a sandwich. A taco,
Yeah.
like tortilla, is too thin to be. It's got bread there.
Sandwich.
Is red velvet cake a real flavor, or is it just chocolate cake going out on a night on the town dressed up really nice?
The latter, absolutely. Yeah, because
Yeah,
I make it. I make it sometimes.
just
like put some red dye in it.
My favorite response is when people are like, "Oh, but the buttercream frosting." I'm like, "You could have carrot cake and still get the buttercream frosting. Like that doesn't make it any better. You get a million places. It's still chocolate cake."
My 17-year-old daughter just DoorDashed red velvet cake the other night, and I was like, "You did what?" It was so good, but still, I was like, "Oh gosh, I didn't realize we did that now."
Oh, the other day I had a hankering for remember the grocery store sheet cake that you would get? Yeah, like I had a hankering for a slice of chocolate with that icing on top. Oh my God. I didn't DoorDash it. I actually went to the store and bought it, but it was like heaven. It was like the best thing ever.
Oh, good.
So, what is your go-to recovery food after a race or a hard workout?
Ooh, I would say I love scratch recovery. The horchata flavor is my absolute favorite. Have you had it?
Yes, it's very good.
Oh, that is my favorite. If I have to do food or if I get to do food, I'm a peanut butter honey sandwich would be awesome. Yeah,
Have
or
you
some
ever
animal crackers or wheat thins.
living in the cold?
Uh,
Have you tried the Scratch apple cider hydration flavor?
no, I haven't.
Yeah, they stopped making it. So Peter, if you're watching this, and I'm going to send it to you, you have a customer right here who's begging
Okay,
for the apple cider flavor.
I'll buy it.
Favorite flavor of ice cream is
Tin Roof Sundae.
what's it
Is
called?
that Tin Roof Sundae? But it's from the 80s. I don't know if it's made anymore.
What is it?
Tin Roof Sundae. It's vanilla with some chocolate swirls and caramel swirls and like some kind of nut in it. Never Tin Roof Sundae.
God, sounds awesome. I got to write this down. I have to
It
go.
is so good, but I don't know if it's made. I haven't had it since I was probably 10 years old.
I got to see if they can DoorDash it to me.
Yeah. What's your favorite?
Mint, and it's
Oh,
better if
that's
it's
good.
green.
Mm-hmm.
You know, put
Mm-hmm.
that green food dye in there. It's better for
Yeah.
them anyway.
Yeah. It tastes different.
Yeah. Favorite candy bar?
Snickers.
Snickers. Nice call.
Yes.
100-gram bar, hands down, is my favorite candy bar.
Oh, that's a good one.
Like, there's not even a brownies. When a tray of brownies comes out, are you going to be more inclined to eat the edges or with the little crusty edge or the center gooey part?
Center gooey. Absolutely.
Nuts or no nuts on the brownies?
No. Mm-mm.
And if you're going to put ice cream on top of the brownie, it's going to be what flavor?
Vanilla.
Here's a tip: try coffee on top of the brownie. Coffee flavored ice cream on top of the brownie one day.
Ooh, I have not done that. That
It
sounds really good.
becomes like a mocha. It's so
Oh
good.
yeah. That
It's
sounds
so good.
amazing.
Well, Jennifer,
Yeah.
thank you so much for joining us. I laugh every time we chat, and appreciate you taking the time to talk to us and answer some of our most ridiculous food questions.
I love it.
I'll talk to you soon.
All
Thanks
right.
everybody
Thanks
for
for
being here.
having me. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.